There's a noise that follows every founder. The meetings, the pitches, the frantic chasing after investors who don't really see you, the endless notifications, the constant pressure to say the right words, act the right way, sell the right image. It's exhausting, right? The fear that if you don't talk enough, if you don't fill every second with sound and action, you'll be forgotten, left behind, swallowed by the noise of everyone else screaming louder. But what if all this noise is actually the enemy? What if the real power you need, the weapon that nobody talks about, is silence? Yeah, silence. That space everyone runs from. The quiet moments when your mind races, your heart pounds, and the world keeps spinning without waiting for your next sentence. It feels uncomfortable because silence strips away your armor. It forces you to sit with your doubts, your fears, your raw self. But here's the truth. In that silence hides your greatest strength. Not the kind that shouts, but the one that listens, that waits, that understands before it acts. Think about it. How often do founders speak without really thinking through what they say? Pitch after pitch, meeting after meeting, everyone scrambling to be heard. But the ones who truly succeed, the rare founders who change the game, don't just talk. They use silence as their secret weapon. They master the pauses. They let the space between words become heavier than the words themselves. Because in that quiet, they let their power grow. The problem starts with the world we live in. A world built to reward noise. To reward the ones who yell the loudest, who flood every channel with their voices, who hustle visibly every second. But noise is a trap. It's a worn-out path most people follow because it's easier. Easier to say something than to hold back. Easier to fill the air with anything than to risk the quiet where vulnerability lives. The system wants you to believe you must always speak, always pitch, always perform. What it rarely tells you is that this noise blinds you from what really matters. Silence is where clarity lives. When you stop trying to fill every moment, you start hearing what your instincts are telling you. Your own voice, not the echo of the endless opinions around you. It's in those quiet seconds that you find what your product really needs, what your team really feels, where your true vision lies buried beneath all the distractions. But here's the kicker. Silence isn't empty. It's packed with power. The power to make others lean in, to command attention without yelling for it. When you actually hold your tongue, when you resist the temptation to fill the room with words, what happens? People listen harder. They wonder what you're thinking. They see strength, confidence, mystery. They recognize that you aren't controlled by the frantic pace that traps most founders. Listen, silence also helps you survive the brutal loneliness of this journey. Anyone who's built something knows how isolating it feels. The weight of decisions, the pressure to perform. Sometimes there's no one to talk to, no one who truly understands. So you panic, you rush, you talk just for the comfort of it. But silence, real silence, forces you to confront the fear inside. It demands you dive deeper into yourself and find the problems and solutions there. It's not comfortable, but it's necessary. It's where you grow from founder to leader, from reactive to deliberate. And here's something most people miss. Silence creates space for connection. Not just superficial small talk, but genuine understanding. When you stop talking just to fill air, you become better at listening. Not passively, but actively. You start picking up on what your team, your investors, your customers really want. You learn to catch the subtle cues, the things unsaid. And that's the gold. Knowing beyond words what drives people, what they fear, what they hope for. Mastering silence also means mastering patience. The world of startups loves speed. Move fast, break things, never pause. But real transformation, the kind that lasts, takes time. It needs the moments of stillness where ideas ferment, where you reflect, where your strategy deepens. Silence trains you to tolerate uncertainty, to sit with it instead of rushing to fix it with noise and talking. And patience is a superpower too, because founders who rush get derailed. Founders who pause, plan, and act deliberately move mountains. This idea isn't easy. The pressure to always be visible, always present, is real. Especially in today's connected world, where silence can feel like absence. But being silent strategically is not being invisible. It's being intentional. It's choosing what to say, when to say it, and how to say it so it lands with impact. It's about building presence through the quality of what you bring, not the quantity of your words. It's about being sovereign over your will and your time. Silencing the pull of every notification, every request, every expectation that you instantly respond. Silencing the noise inside your head telling you you're not enough unless you're constantly producing and performing. This silence creates a boundary, a space where you protect your energy and creativity from getting drained by everything and everyone demanding a piece of it. It's radical self-care disguised as silence. Silence also helps you question everything. When your mouth is closed, your mind can open wide. You start seeing old assumptions crumble. You realize a lot of what you believed about being a founder, about leadership, about success, is just noise you've been conditioned to accept. When you quiet your mind and question deeply, you free yourself from those illusions. You start becoming truly transformative. Not just another founder running a company, but a creator changing reality. Imagine for a moment what happens if a founder starts deliberately using silence like this. How many conversations get better? How many decisions become clearer? How many conflicts resolve because the founder isn't reacting, but choosing when and how to respond? How many new ideas arise because the founder isn't afraid to sit with uncertainty? This sounds simple, but it's not. It's counterintuitive in a world that demands noise, and that's why it's so powerful. What the system doesn't want you to see is that silence is where your wildest, most radical potential lives. It's where the rare get aligned, their misfit ideas, their misunderstood brilliance, their unshakable vision. In that silence, the founder connects not just with themselves, but with the few others who burn just the same as they do. Those connections become an explosive network, not of noise and distraction, but of true energy and synergy. The founders who use silence well aren't waiting for the world to recognize their fire. They're stoking it quietly, fiercely, patiently. They aren't chasing belonging, they're crafting becoming. They're not echoing the crowd, they're rewriting the rules. This silence is rebellion, a rebellion against the noise, the mediocrity, the captivity of the endless hustle. It's the battlefield of those who refuse to live a borrowed life, who refuse to settle for convenience and conformity. Take control of silence, and you control your story. You decide who you show up as, how you move, when you act. Silence stops you from being swept by every trend, every opinion, every small crisis forcing you to react. Instead, it lets you respond with intention and wisdom. It's a shield and a sword, protecting you from burnout, cutting through chaos. And don't confuse silence with weakness or indecision. The strongest founders master the art of waiting, knowing when silence speaks louder than words. They build their empires in spaces where others only see walls. They survive storms because they've learned to sit still in the eye and listen. So how do you start? You start by noticing your own noise, the mental chatter, the restless impulse to fill things. You create tiny pauses in your day, moments to check in with yourself, to listen instead of speak. You resist the urge to reply immediately. You learn to ask better questions silently rather than scream answers. You practice holding the space when others panic. You train yourself to be comfortable with the quiet before the breakthrough. Founders, your greatest weapon isn't your voice, it's your control over when not to use it. Silence is your power because it reminds you who you really are beneath all the roles, the expectations, the endless hustle. It connects you to the rare energy that gives you strength to burn bright and long. It frees you from the trap of simply surviving the noise to becoming someone who shapes reality on their own terms. Find that quiet place. Sit in it. Learn from it. Let it sharpen your vision, fuel your courage, and build your patience. In the silence, you become sovereign. In the silence, you become unstoppable. Silence is not the absence of sound. It's the presence of power. This is the weapon the system fears because it can't control you when you own your silence. So turn down the noise. Step into the quiet. Watch your world shift. The space you create with silence isn't just empty, it's electric. It's where the impossible begins, where real freedom lives. If you dare to wield it, nothing can stop you.